I was very much a lost person. I've hit rock bottom a lot, and I wish I hadn't. I wish I would have done things the easy way. I started when I was younger. The way I coped with certain things, I started when I was younger with either self-harm or cutting, and that developed into drug abuse and alcohol abuse. I looked at self-destruction as I'm just hurting myself. I'm not hurting anybody else. I've never really felt like I belonged in a traditional church. I stepped away from the church for a long time. I stepped away from God. I said, if Christians are like this, then I don't want to be part of this church. I did my own thing for 15 years. I did a lot of good things. I successful in sports and school and made a lot of friends. And I've done a lot of things where, the world would say, wow, you're doing a lot of good things. You're successful. And I looked at myself and I wasn't happy with where I was at because I'd never been vulnerable with who I was as a person. And I felt like I couldn't be vulnerable with people. So, a lot of that is I didn't understand what step I needed to take. I would want to be a part of something that helps the community. I don't believe in this whole Jesus thing. I don't know who he is. But if I can be part of an organization that gives back, is bigger than myself, then maybe I'll get something fulfilling out of it. I was friends with Josh Kim, and he did something simple. He just posted something on Facebook. He just said, hey, I'm at the grocery store buyout. And I was like, all right, well, I could get along with Josh Kim, so maybe I'll try out his church. I would hop in the service, and I would show up late and run out as fast as I could. In June 2023, there was a sermon series called Game Changer, and it was a challenge towards men to step up and be men. There's a lot of things that men don't do in today's day and age, and being vulnerable is one of them. I've never really been vulnerable with anybody. Maybe a handful. I'll give pieces of myself, but I've never really fully opened up and said, hey, I'm willing to work on certain things. In 2023, when I'm working through all this stuff, I'd listen to a sermon and I would immediately run back to my house and either just smoke weed or I would drink because I couldn't cope with what was going on the sermon. And I knew it was directed towards me. I was like, I knew I gotta be different. I knew I gotta change. And I looked at myself and I said, I'm giving Collective 45 minutes a week. I'm not really giving them a fair shot. I'm meeting people in service and maybe for a couple minutes saying hi, bye. I'm not building actual connections. So am I really giving Collective a fair shot? So the first thing I did was I joined the team. I joined the breakfast team. It was a huge step for me because I looked at it and said, I am a completely broken person. I'm a shameful person. And I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to make egg casseroles and make people happy. And then they can go tell people about Jesus because I'm not in a place to tell anyone about it. I'm a very self-destructive human being. And if I don't channel my who I am as a person, I'm either going to channel in the sense where it's either destructive or positive. And there's no in between. So I was channeling something where I was doing it in a positive manner. And I was able to give back on a small level, but it made a huge impact on my life, honestly. I knew that something was missing. I was successful in a lot of ways, but something was missing. And I knew something was wrong, and it was my body's way of telling me something isn't right. You're not walking in step with what God wants for you. So I checked the baptism box. Very appreciative of the team. They took their time talking to me. I had a lot of doubts. I came to a realization I needed to accept grace. And I needed not just accept it, but I needed God and Jesus to walk with me going forward. This is a chance for me to just accept a gift. And it's not easy to accept a gift. When I got into the tub, I was 0 days sober. And so I was I was like, man, I have to be perfect before I get into baptism. But if I waited to be perfect, I would never get there. I was still smoking weed every single day. And it was something where I was like, I knew it was wrong. I knew I wasn't doing what I should be doing. And I knew it was limiting my growth because I was just numbing the pain constantly rather than emotionally dealing with the problems that I had at hand. So I got baptized in December. In January, Pastor Michael says, well, okay, we're going to do a 35-day challenge. You know, do something physical, read a chapter in the Bible, do a guided prayer, serve someone, and sacrifice something. And in that moment, he said, you know what you need to sacrifice. I'm like, well, yeah, I do, okay? So you don't have to rub it in all the time, Michael. And so I said, okay, I'm going to give up weed for 35 days, which I hadn't done for 15 years. I'd been smoking weed every day for 15 years pretty much. And so as I'm getting close to the 35 days, I'm like, yeah, I can go back and be the same person again. And then CT gets on stage, and then he says, well, what are you going to do for your next 35 days? And I was like, I can't catch a break with these guys. So why am I choosing to be real about my growth? Because I don't want to be in a community where people stay the same. I don't want to be in a community that is like normal churches, because I don't like normal churches. I don't get along with normal churches. I want people that are real about their brokenness, because I want them to grow like I grew. Yeah, it sucks though. Being vulnerable sucks. There's no way around it. But being vulnerable is the only way to heal. It's the only way. And it's not easy. But you can take the small steps, and sometimes you just have to take the right next step.